What is going on, YouTube? I'm Choctopus, and today we're back with another episode of Copper Drop, in which we will talk about specific evolution lines and figure groups and do more of an educational stance on Pokemon Duel in hopes that we can help some newbies who might have a limited group of figures to work with and, see if we could help some people out, maybe try out some different figures, break the meta a little bit, and kind of teach people what figures are good and which figures we should avoid. Now, keep in mind that at the release of this video, the figures may be viable. This is also mostly opinion, but who's to say in a couple weeks or even days, with the way that Pokemon Duel has been balancing figures, that this video will still be viable. It might not be, so just take that into consideration. But in the last episode, we talked about the Bulbasaur evolution line, and I took some heat for it because I made a joke, and the PETA of Pokemon basically came after me. I promise, I like Bulbasaur. I was just joking because it's just fun to pick on Bulbasaur sometimes. And I'll probably catch some heat in this video too, but you know what? I'm willing. But today we're going to mix it up. We're going to go to Gen 2, and we're going to talk about my personal favorite starters from Gold and Silver. We're going to talk about Cyndaquil, Quill Lava, and Typhlosion. So let's get right into it. And remember, if you have any specific figures or lines or groups that you want me to discuss, let me know in the comments below, and maybe we'll make it happen. So first, let's talk about Cyndaquil. Okay, so Cyndaquil's first, and it's an uncommon, has 3 move points, and just taking a look at its passive ability, which is Rally, this Pokemon's Ember gains plus 20 damage for each Pokemon in your PC. So basically, as more Pokemon move into your PC, this Pokemon gets stronger. Now, just taking out the wheel and how it's broken down, you have 2 spaces that are occupied by Ember, each at 16% each, so that's a 32% chance, at level 1 to hit Ember. Also, you have a 40% chance to hit Tackle, and then you have a 24% chance to miss. Now, that miss can be pretty greatly diminished as you level up this Pokemon. However, just taking a look at its passive ability, only Ember gains a damage boost, as Pokemon enter your PC. So while it can deal a lot of damage, you can deal upwards of 60 damage with Ember, which is not bad for an uncommon figure. You have a very large chance. You have a 40% chance of hitting Tackle, right off the bat without leveling it up. And you have a 24% chance of missing. Even if you level this Pokemon up, which I don't know if I would spend the figures to do that, I would say, and also 450 material for Cyndaquil, which you've probably pulled 10 of in boxes. I'm going to say we're going to have to drop this one. I just don't think it's worth it to start. Now, if you have limited figures, there are better runners out there that can deal better damage and have a better percentage, but we're going to have to drop Cyndaquil. Next up, we have the second evolution. We have Quill Lava, who is ironically a common. So I'm noticing a pattern like this. The starter, the first evolution is an uncommon, and then the second is a common. So chances are you have a Quill Lava over a Cyndaquil right now. And I feel like I've pulled more Quill Lavas, so now I'm starting to see that it is common. 2 move points, and its ability is also Rally, in which its Ember gains plus 20 for each Pokemon on the PC. Now, taking a look at the wheel, it's a lot different. You only have one piece, which is Ember this time at 32%, which can be leveled up, and that's probably the one you're going to want to level up if you're going to put some XP into this Pokemon, especially if you have a Typhlosion, but we're going to talk about that afterwards. So 52% is Flamethrower, in which if Quill Lava gets knocked out, it burns the other Pokemon. Now, paired up with the new Flame Energy, I think this could be pretty useful. But you basically, right off the bat, without leveling up, you have almost you have an 85 or 84% chance of dealing some kind of damage. And if you level it up, you could greatly diminish that, get closer to 90. But I think Quill Lava is a decent Pokemon, if you're going to be evolving into Typhlosion, so if you have a Quill Lava, and chances are you do because it is a common figure, Quill Lava is a pretty decent fire Pokemon to run, and, you know, that rally is a nice boost because, you know, if you pair that up with an X attack, you could do upwards of, let's see, 30, 40, 50, 100 damage, which is pretty good for a common figure. 100 damage if you pair it up with an X attack or something that's going to deal more damage. You know, if you have that flame energy and you want to run it alongside flamethrower and a fire deck, that's pretty cool because flame energy got a pretty nice buff. So I'm going to say we're going to want to cop Quill Lava. However, it's not available in the material shop right now, but if you pulled it, you know, try not to fuse it into anything because we're going to give it a cop rating. Last but not least, in the Cyndaquil evolution line, we have Typhlosion, who is an EX figure, 1 move point to start. However, that's going to change because the ability that it carries is Flame Acceleration, which is similar to the abilities that the other two figures have. However, instead of gaining damage, it gains 1 move point, so it becomes super fast if you have 2 Pokemon in your PC. Now, taking a look at the wheel, by the way, I loved my Typhlosion in Gold and Silver. Typhlosion was my favorite of the 3 final evolutions, and we ran the show in Johto. People knew who we were. We were the champions. We beat Red on that mountaintop. Good times. But taking a look at the wheel, you have, let's see, there's 2 slices that are 8% each for a miss. So a 16% chance of missing is not that great off the bat. However, chances are you're going to level up your EX figures, so you can, you know, greatly diminish that. You have your purple attack, which is Hot Air. All neighboring Pokemon become burned. And that is a 28% chance, so it's pretty large. It's over a fourth. And then you have Ember clocking in at 24% and dealing 50 damage. Not too much damage. Oh, I'm sorry. Then you have Fire Blast at 28%, which is dealing 90 damage. Now, I would use Typhlosion more of a utility Pokemon, especially if you're running Flame Energy. So basically, if you evolve from a Quill Lava, you know, you're going to get that damage boost, and you're going to get a 2-star Hot Air, which is 2 stars are the most common of all the purples. You know, 3 is even less common, and there's not that many 1s. I would say 2-star purple abilities are probably the most common of purple attacks. Now, you're going to want to, you know, obviously level up. I don't even know here. I would say avoid leveling up Hot Air and maybe go Fire Blast, because you don't want to burn your own Pokemon if, you know, you have your Typhlosion surrounded by, you know, some of yours. Because if you're running Flame Energy, which I probably would with a fire deck nowadays, you're going to put your own Pokemon on wait, and you want to avoid doing that. If you could use Typhlosion as kind of a suicide bomber, and hopefully you can hit that Hot Air, especially, let's say you have 2 Pokemon in the PC. You send your 3 move point Typhlosion flying out of the gate, you know, to a bunch of enemy Pokemon. Hopefully you hit Hot Air, and you burn all the Pokemon, put them on wait. That is a pretty decent strategy. However, you know, if you're down a couple Pokemon, I don't know if I'd play that aggressive. It's kind of 50-50 here with Typhlosion, because while Quill Lava is a pretty decent second evolution, you know, it deals good damage. It's a 2 move point. It's not a bad figure. I'm a little on the fence, and I want to say let's drop Typhlosion because it's 4,000 material in the material shop, and you could spend 4,000 material way better than picking up Typhlosion. I mean, there's other great Pokemon, not necessarily fire Pokemon, but there's just other great EX figures at 4,000 that I'd rather spend my money on because, or my material on, because Typhlosion, it's too iffy. Because if you have a full team out on the field, it's only 1 move point, so it's relatively slow, and then, you know, you risk burning your own Pokemon. So we're going to give it a drop rating. However, I am going to say that, you know, I do think that Quill Lava is a more stable choice if you have a limited figure library, because it deals more damage, you know, and as Pokemon come out, you're dealing more damage without risking burning your own. So I'm sorry, Typhlosion. I did love you in Gold and Silver, and I still love you, but I'm going to have to give you a drop rating. Now, I do realize that I said when I was reviewing Quill Lava that, you know, it would be pretty decent evolving into a Typhlosion, but, you know, after putting some thought into it, increasing the chances of hitting hot air, you know, by making it a 2-star purple attack, you know, you're putting your Pokemon at risk. Maybe Typhlosion would be better on its own instead of evolving, because, you know, keeping it at a 1-star, you'll probably get beat out, especially if, you know, you're surrounded by some of your other Pokemon. It's tough to say. I mean, it's a pun not intended. I think Typhlosion is a very hot or cold figure. But if you had to run any of the 3, and you're looking for something that deals decent damage, and you're looking at something that, you know, has a very minimal chance of missing, I would just run the Quill Lava instead of going into Typhlosion. There's better figures you could spend 4,000 material on, so we're going to have to pass on that one. Anyway, thanks for watching my video, guys. If you like it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Now, remember, let me know in the comments below what you think about the video. Everything's open for discussion, so if you feel that I'm wrong, feel free to tell me, and most of you probably will. But like I said, just trying to provide some advice to newbies who might have a more limited amount of figures to work with, you know, especially if they have a lot of those commons and uncommons and they don't know what to use. So everything's open for discussion. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this video. If you're new here, make sure you hit that sub button, subscribe to my channel, because we have some great stuff planned for this series. A lot of good stuff upcoming. I'm really excited about where we're going, so make sure you hit that sub button and don't miss the next video. Also, if you want to hit me up on social media, you can find my social media links in the comments below. Talking is really hard. Also, hit me up on Discord. We have a great community in our Discord server. You know, I'm there to help, and there's some others, and we'll see you there. So check it out. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.